The big topic in this conversation that I wanted to have with you is the number one mistake that people make. And that is they spend potentially weeks, months, years building a product without actually validating that there is a service or an app function or something that you can actually sell. So you've spent all that time and then you try to sell and then you find that nobody actually wants it. That's not how we did this, and that's why I want to share with you what the best strategy to use. Back in 2016, we started sharing YouTube videos and vlogs around the warehouse and sharing how we're building our business. And a byproduct of this was people would reach out to us and ask whether they can use our warehouse operations for their business. And at that moment in time, it created a need in the marketplace for somebody to go, have you considered being a fulfillment service, a prep service? And at that point, we was like, no, but if there's a need, we can certainly take a look into it and see if we can work together to build something that works for you. At that point, I got on the whiteboard and started thinking, okay, got some feedback from the potential person that was interested. Like, what is it that you would need? How would you see this operating? You know, what's important to you? And then we created the first version of what we now are Systemise Fulfilment. And at that point, we hadn't built a website at that point, right? We hadn't even built any way of actually selling the service. It was all based on the lead, the demand was generated, and the curiosity was generated through the process of actually talking. So what ended up happening was we developed the first version, and then we got to work and we practiced and we validated from start to finish that the process could be completed. And the first part that we had was, we went through the entire process first. It was like, here's inbound, this is what you'd want to see on inbound. How would we then create your shipments? This is the processing that we would do. This is the quality control and outbound that we would do. There's outbound right here, you can see a sign. And then there was like, fantastic, that worked brilliantly. And at that point, it was like, okay, we've got a service here, a service that can create the result. And at that point, we then created a website. During getting more feedback, getting more clients, going through the processes, and then we learned how to streamline, we learned how to systemize. Then we learned, okay, how do we manage inbound, not just for one client, but what if we had 100 clients, right? What happens if we wanted to not just ship 1,000 units, but what would 100,000 units look like? And then we started to build as we went. So we were then starting to sell as we were building, not building for 9 years. And now we're coming out going, we're Systemise Fulfilment. That's not actually how it worked. And when it comes to your software as a service, your app, your product, always see it from that perspective, right? Sell first, build later. Not build first, sell later. Because then you can refine based on actual users, actual members, actual clients. So we're doing this again right now in Vybers, right? So we've got our first founding members, and we're going through the process of the development of their own app. And this is a very beginning of a community where the number one result that we're trying to achieve is within 28 days, you can go from the idea to an actual MVP, a minimal viable product. So we've got our first members, we've started the first live calls. And what I'm really, really interested in, it's not about getting, thousands of members all straight away. It's about getting the first members, the first founding members, and really helping them and getting feedback and getting the result for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. And the same can go with your MVP, right? So if you was to create an MVP for your app, let's say your service, you get it into, you reach out to 5 people and say, Hey, is this something that you're interested in? Hey, is this something that you're interested in? Hey, is this something that you're interested in? Something that is a minimal viable product. So you might not have it all worked out, but the foundation is there, the problem, the solution that you're trying to create in the marketplace. Somebody might go, I'm interested in that, and that's very, very useful to me. And then you say, do you mind if you wanted to become maybe a beta tester? Do you want to use it and then help me build it? And then you can be rewarded from, founding membership, discounted membership, maybe free membership. It depends on how you want to do this. But then you're going to get feedback. You're going to get real feedback based on real users. And those real users' feedback is going to be so, so valuable. And if you can get free, it's fine. But if you could get somebody to have a heavily discounted offer, you might do a 90% off. Let's say, hypothetically, you want to sell something for £99 a month. Okay, so that's going to be the price that you're going to work towards, £99 a month. Well, when you first start, make it £9 a month. Make it £4 a month. Make it £1 a month, right? Make it so irresistible that a founding member would just go, I'm interested. And they'd be willing to put maybe a price of a coffee or 90% off because they're interested in that result. It's a need for them. And at that point, you touch base. How's things going? How are we doing? Maybe there's live calls. We're currently doing live calls right now. Live calls. How's things happening? Is everything okay? How's it progressing? What's your thoughts? How are you getting on? And then at that point, it starts to take a life of its own. You actually build in the direction of where your clients want to go and where your clients are taking you, not where you think you want to go. Is this making sense? So it's certainly, and it will save a lot of time, because you might launch something that, it's not something that I'm going to pursue anymore because I've tested it now for a month or so. You've got some initial feedback. Maybe there's not much demand there. And then you go, not much lost. Okay, we'll go on to the next one. But you haven't spent potentially tens of thousands of pounds. You haven't spent lots of time, months, maybe even years, for you not to actually sell in reality. When you've done all that work and then you love it, you've fallen in love with your own service, you've fallen in love with your own product, which is such a danger. You want to build what your clients love. So sell first, build while you're building. Don't build first and then sell later. And honestly, it's going to save you so much time and effort. So comment down below, let me know what your thoughts are. I'd love to hear what your comments are on that. It's certainly something that's helped us over the last 10 years plus at this point. And we continue to take that feedback based on all the clients that we work with, all the shipments that we're doing, and any type of feedback. If it can go into a system, we can standardize it and then achieve the goal that they have. So my name's Kev, inspiring you every single day to keep taking massive action. And there's going to be a video that pops up right here. Speak soon.